So we're closing out the year here in 2021, and I can say it's been the craziest year ever that I can remember in the watch market. Let me just say that if you could turn back the clock right now, back to the beginning of the year in January, I would have never expected that we would be right now where we're at. We had already seen a rebound in the market last year, which everybody was concerned. And you know, all the comments on my videos on the market update said, let the economy take the cake. Everybody's gonna be selling their watches. The true effects of the coronavirus have not hit, so on and so forth. Granted, a lot of those comments that people said I felt were warranted as well. Not thinking they were talking crazy or anything like that, but it just hasn't seemed to happen yet. And what we saw was actually a rally so heavy this whole year on luxury goods, especially luxury watches, that has kind of left me pretty much speechless on what the heck is going on. Things like the Panda Daytona started off this year at 25,000, maybe a bit above that, and now we're pushing pretty much 40,000. Brand new models, if they have a fresh date, are over 40. That's crazy, you know? What could be driving the market so heavy that's pushing these prices so hard? A lot of people are gonna point to the demand. Yes, of course, there is a crazy demand right now in watches. Every day that passes by, another person that you meet wants to buy a Rolex or wants to buy a Patek, or maybe even their first watch is an AP. So every day the demand grows more and more. But one of the true drivers that I feel is what's going on with the economy, with the inflation. The inflation that I'm referring to, from what I see, seems to be that people want to get their money out of actual cash and go into hard assets. You see people buying collector cars, fine artwork, luxury goods, things that you can't get, like watches. Let's face it, everyone's seen this whole entire year that you walk into the Rolex boutique and they have nothing. The latest one nowadays is that they have 4 or 5 watches on display with these ridiculous signs that say, for display only. Yeah, okay. A couple people have even told me, no, those are dummy watches that they say don't have any movements. Are you kidding me? I'm not buying it. Just when I thought that Panda couldn't go anymore and I kept saying 35 is the max, I don't see it going anymore, we're already at over $40,000. The $100 million question right now is, will it continue going? I don't know. From there we go on to brands like AP, which have shown nothing but increasing gains throughout the whole year. Watches like the 15500, which previous version, the 15400, used to be under $15,000 4 or 5 years ago. Nowadays, if you're gonna buy a 15500 unworn, you're gonna pay $50,000 or more. That is almost absurd, but that's what the market right now is demanding. The main question that everybody, of course, is gonna continue to ask is, when will it stop? And I, for one, can't even say anymore. I keep saying that we are at a peak, and I feel like I've been saying that since February, the whole year. And once again, it gets proven more and more. Everyone keeps talking again about the bubble. We've talked about this before. I feel that a bubble would be if it was only luxury watches that are getting more expensive. But right now, you can't even get a Hyundai Genesis at retail. It's pretty much everything throughout the market that is in luxury goods is going over retail. I don't foresee it as just a watch market bubble. I feel like when things go down, the whole market's gonna go down. And trust me, we're gonna have bigger problems. Another model that has surprised me beyond belief in AP has been the perpetual calendars. I mean, they've always been top tier watches and they always have been expensive. But what is the end game in that watch? Are we gonna go to 300 and beyond? Take a look at the double balance skeleton. These were watches that when they were at $125,000, people were complaining. And right now, you can't even pick up a rose gold double balance open work for probably, you gotta be careful, probably not even at 300 right now, the way things are going. Another thing I wanna mention before I continue on to Patek is, I feel like this year in December for the holiday seasons, there really wasn't that surge of people buying. It wasn't like previous years, not counting 2020 of course, where December is that hot month where people are out there buying gifts and buying stuff and buying watches. We didn't really see that surge this year. at least for us here in Miami in the watch business. What I will tell you is, it's kind of been December all year. So in that aspect, you know, it's almost nice to have a little bit of a break right now, because I, for one, am a little bit exhausted right now with the market. It's been a lot of work, a lot of demands to meet for everyone. Moving on to Patek Philippe. I mean, obviously, if you haven't heard the news, which I've talked about it already a couple times, the Tiffany Nautilus. I mean, that is something that could possibly create ripples in the watch market for the next 6 months. Lord knows that every guy at home that has a Tiffany OP is planning to get $45,000 to $50,000 for it. There's even one guy that tried to trade in a Tiffany OP for a 5711 straight up. I mean, I'm sorry, but you need to understand that crack does kill. Just because the Nautilus Tiffany got to $6.5 million does not mean your OP is worth 100 grand. I'll offer you $18,000 and that's it. I'm not interested in those watches. The effects of that sale could possibly trickle for the next 6 months with all the Nautilus models. We're gonna have to wait and see what's gonna happen with that. Yes, definitely was a charity purchase, and I commend the buyer for doing that. I think that was a total G move. But it's gonna affect the prices for the other models, and we're gonna have to wait and see. If it's too much, I almost feel like they went straight for the kill. You know, 3-4 million, that would have already caused ripples. 6.5? Jesus, I don't know what the heck's gonna happen in that department. A 5990, just like this one. Nothing special, no provenance, not owned by Mark Wahlberg previously or nothing like that. Sold at that auction at a hammer price of $350,000. What the hell's going on? What will that do to the already increasing price of this watch? I would say that early in this year, January, this watch was easily all day, every day, 100 grand, a little bit over in that range. Right now, to get one of these, you're gonna be at almost $200,000 before that Philips auction hammer price. What's gonna happen to the prices? Right now, it's very interesting, exciting, but yet scary all at the same time, for me at least. Richard Mille. Richard Mille is that one brand that this year, somewhere in the middle of the year, had a little bit of a hiccup on certain models. The RM1103 full rolls and rolls did almost $100,000 kick in the market. The real question was why? I sat there and I really thought about that. I said, what's going on with these watches that caused this kick? Because it didn't happen to all the models, okay? Not all the models had that kick. Something happened there in the middle of that year, maybe because the Bitcoin buyers were a little bit low. I don't know. I'm not sure. Something tells me that there's a lot of strong buyers out there for these heavy pieces. But for the real heavy pieces, like the RMs that are 500 and up, sales are not as fast as perhaps a John Mayer Daytona, which those that stayed well almost touching 100 grand the whole year. Yeah, they had a little soft era there where they went to about 85 but bounced right back up. Whereas the RM1103 Rose on Rose was a strong 500,000 for a while. Maybe they stopped moving. Maybe those pieces sat around a little bit too long and that kind of caused a little bit of a kick in the market. We don't know. Overall, Richard Mille has obviously stayed strong, but it's the only brand that I think this whole year in the summary didn't have those exponential gains like the other three brands I just talked about. So wrapping up this watch market report for 2021, I would say that this could possibly be the highest the market has ever been. Have any of you at home ever seen it be any higher than this? It hasn't. When other things have blown up, watches have stayed the same. Right now, the market could possibly be the highest ever. And it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens next year if we could top that. I have been wrong before. All year I kept saying we're at a peak, and yet it kept going. So we'll have to sit back and see what it brings us for 2022. So comment below what you think about this year's explosion in the watch market. And if you like this video, like and share it with somebody else. Also, subscribe to my new YouTube channel.